mates, and they were very, very tight security. They never spoke to the press, and they kept everything very secretive. Whatever he did, well, they were right with him at all times.
But sometimes they would get a little too close. Though everyone knows that Elvis and Priscilla share a warm and genuine love, it is obvious that the Presley career is getting in the way. I resolved that life was not going to change, she said, that Elvis would have to go his way and I would have to go mine. Another man enters her life, and that man is karate instructor Mike Stone. On March 27, 1972, before a lot of us even knew what was happening, Elvis would go into a Los Angeles recording studio and pour his heart out to the world in a song called Separate Ways.
I firmly believe that the only two women that Elvis ever loved in this world was his mother and Priscilla, and she left him. And it's something that he never got over. And every song that he would sing of his own choosing was something about the loss of a woman. He dug them because he still loved Priscilla, and it's the only thing in his life that he ever wanted that he couldn't have.
Elvis will go through a lot of changes in the 70s. He will become increasingly preoccupied with Far Eastern philosophy. He would get into astrology, mysticism, and spiritualism. And he will experience an acute fascination with the psychology of death.
67 or 68, we were working here on a soundtrack. And he said, you know, the only way I'll ever get out of this business is to die. You think I can pull that off? I said, well, if anybody can, you can. We just laughed about it and went on. But then toward the last, he just got more withdrawn all the time. And he said one time, he told us he wouldn't live much past 40. And he'd never see 45.
His concert appearances will become more and more unpredictable. He is sometimes so hyper that he would turn them into karate demonstrations. Other times he would have to push himself to even finish the show. He would suddenly put on weight and then starve himself to take it off. And he is frequently hospitalized for what his PR people call minor complaints.
He did have a chronic problem with his colon. He had glaucoma. He had some hypertension.
Maurice Elliott, spokesman for Baptist Memorial No. 1.
Since then, it has been mentioned that he was treated to some degree for drug dependency.
Some of the critics allege that his voice is losing its quality and strength, but still the people come. As late as April 1976, an Omaha concert will sell out in just 45 minutes. In June of 1977, his Midwest tour is an overwhelming success. But whispers about his failing health are getting louder. And then on August 1st, a printed expose by Steve Donlevy and 3 former Presley bodyguards will crumble the walls of Graceland. On almost every page of Elvis, What Happened, karate expert Dave Hebler, Delbert Red West, and cousin Sonny West proclaim that Elvis is using drugs.
What drugs are we talking about? Was he hooked? We're talking about uppers and downers. We're talking about sleeping pills. We're talking about things like Demerol. Yes.
You actually saw him take it?
Yes. Yes. I'll never forget it. He said, I need him, man. I need it.
And in mid-August, Red West will tell a Chicago Sun-Times reporter that Elvis's drug habit is so severe, I am convinced he is in danger of losing his life. But death is no stranger to Elvis. During that final Midwest tour, he will tell Kathy Westmoreland in no uncertain terms that, I know when I am going to die. It will be about the same date my mother died. And to many of those who would witness his last TV special, there is very little doubt that Elvis is physically in trouble.
And I think the real reason that he allowed them to film that was to prove to himself that his fans loved him regardless of what had happened to him, because he really did adore the people. I personally felt like that he was really reaching out. I just wept like a child. I could almost hear him coming apart inside and almost begging for help or letting everybody know this just may be the last time you'll hear me sing.
And the thing he said at the end of his concert, he said adios. And adios has several different meanings, and some of them are until we meet again in heaven, or to God I commend you. And I think he knew very well what adios meant.
Monday, August 15th. Members of the Presley entourage rush to make last-minute travel arrangements for the new tour, as Elvis meets with Security Chief Dick Grobe.
We talked about the upcoming concert. Instructed me to get a hold of Charlie and tell him of the new numbers that he wanted to put in. He was looking forward to doing the upcoming concert. He had no intention of slacking off, was going to put out more than anything ever.
11 p.m. Ginger Alden, cousin Billy Smith, and Charlie Hodge will accompany Elvis to a dental appointment with Dr. Lester Hoffman in Memphis. They return to Graceland at about 1:30, and he and Ginger will retire to his bedroom suite. 4 a.m. They will join Billy and his wife Jo in a racquetball game that will last until after 5, and then at 6, Tuesday morning, Elvis and Ginger will go to bed. 6:30 a.m. Elvis is restless. He will summon Rick Stanley for his bedtime medication and then settle down to read. 8 a.m. Still unable to rest, he will send for more medication. As Rick leaves, he will bid Ginger goodnight for the very last time. Investigative writer James Cole.
She remembers waking up one time later that morning, finding that Elvis was not in bed, calling for him. She received no answer. The bathroom door was shut. Early in the afternoon, she woke up, called for him again, got no answer. She knocked on the bathroom door, still no answer. Then she opened the door and she saw the body lying on the carpet there.
2:25 p.m. She screams for Presley aides Al Strada and Joe Esposito. They will then call Vernon's office and urge him to come up fast. Elvis isn't breathing. Seconds later, the Memphis Fire Department will dispatch 2 paramedics, Charles Crosby and Ulysses Jones.
A guard met us at the door. He proceeded to take us upstairs through the bedroom where we found Mr. Presley lying on the floor of the bathroom. When we got there, we checked him and continued CPR. We asked was he on any type medications or anything. Some fella told us that he had OD'd.
A very thorough autopsy was done.
Maurice Elliott.
Present was Dr. Francisco, who was there primarily as an observer, as I understand it.
But even before the autopsy is completed, Dr. Jerry Francisco, the medical examiner for Shelby County, will tell us exactly what we want to hear.
The cause of death is a cardiac arrhythmia due to undetermined causes. The causes for this cardiac arrhythmia are not presently known. There will be tests going on over the next several days to several weeks in an attempt to discover the cause. But many times, even after the completion of those tests, no cause is discovered for this arrhythmia.
He added that there was no evidence of any illegal drug use, that only properly prescribed medication was found in the body. But according to investigative writer James Cole,
They found morphine, they found codeine, they found Quaalude, they found Valmet, they found Valium, they found Nimbutal, they found 3 barbiturates, namely pentobarbital, butabarbital, phenobarbital, they found Placidil, and they found an antihistamine.
11 drugs, and all but one are central nervous system depressants, downers. All in proper therapeutic quantities, but each one capable of interaction with the other. But the people closest to him firmly believe that Elvis was by no means a drug addict.
Elvis was a sick man, but he did not take the amount of drugs that was bought in his name. Those drugs were bought for 40 to 50 people. Elvis used drugs, but 90% of it was because of medical reasons.
I personally don't believe that Elvis ever took anything just because it was dope for the thrill of it. He didn't need that. But when he felt bad, he tried to feel good. And I believe he just became over-medicinized.
He was a victim of circumstances. He was a victim of demands. Demands from the public, demands from Colonel Parker, demands from RCA, demands from the fan clubs, demands from everybody. He wanted to pick his guitar and sing his songs and make you happy with his music, but he couldn't do that. He just got caught in a world he couldn't get out of, and this is what put him where he is today.
The king is gone. But as a British poet once wrote, to live in the hearts we leave behind is not to die.
To me, Elvis was one of the greatest guys I've ever known.
I miss my friend, and I miss the friendship. The way you enjoy life, you enjoy entertaining people.
I miss him as a man, the most fantastic humanitarian that I've ever known in my life. And he was just my friend.
He was the greatest. He was a legend. He was an image. He was happy when he was making the people happy.
He was the king of rock and roll, and I cried the day he died.
He was one of the sweetest natured guys you've ever seen. He tried to please everybody. No one that we work with comes into the studio and shakes hands with every musician, every engineer, and there's a janitor there, he would shake hands with him. Believe me, I could talk to you all night about the fond memories we have of him.
Todd Slaughter, secretary of the Elvis Presley Fan Club in Great Britain.